Howdy! How's everybody out there in YouTube land? I hope this finds you well. Boy, I almost went live without him. He dragging in here at the last second, and he's done no sound checks. He doesn't know where nothing is. He, he's not got his earbuds in. He's a mess. I swear to God.
I'm always a mess. Always a mess.
I thought you dressed up like Gulliver and the kids had carried you away.
No costume for me, but there were a lot of trick-or-treaters. I had 41 in an hour and a half.
Well, that's respectable.
Yeah. Yeah, I had 44 full-size candies and 2 buckets of fun-size candies, the smaller candies.
Mhm.
I would give everyone 1 full-size candy bar and then a handful of the little treats.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, this is the best house. And then the one group said, Mommy, he's so nice. So I'm like, hi, everyone. And everyone says, thank you. You're welcome. I say, you're welcome. And I'm just like, hey, I want to put some smiles on people's faces. Is that so bad?
Mommy, why don't you throw that daddy out that we got at home? This one's much nicer.
Yeah.
Let's take him home.
Well, how are you doing, BrendaG?
Much better than I was last week.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. You need a couple good days here because you've had 8 weeks of hell.
Well, it's that's an ongoing thing. I don't imagine that's ever going to end. I'm not seeing an end to any of that soon. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I had gout last week. That combined with my psoriatic arthritis and the foot's still sore, but I'm able to hobble around on it a little bit more than I was, and I did get the air conditioners covered, and I haven't turned the heat on yet. I'm trying to put that off until Monday, but it is what it is. Eventually, I'm going to have to break down and turn it on. I just don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
No heat here at the Haas house. I like it cool. I run hot, so
I don't. I run cold, and I want the heat on until it's sweltering, and I can't do that now. They like to be paid for their services. We got a bunch of people out there in the chat. We might say hey to some of them.
We do have a full house. Hi, everyone.
Say we got Mutt Nuts is out there. I say hey to her. We got Y Mitchell is out there. Donald and we was playing Merry Happy Everything there for a little bit, but going back and forth. We got Jimbo out there. Hello, Jimbo. Hope everything's going well in Florida. We got let's see,
Florida. I love it.
Harneal Media is out there. We'll say hey to Steve. Good to see you. I hope everything is going well where all of you reside. I hope the goblins ain't got you. And I don't think that they have had trick or treat here in this town. I mean, with my foot all laid up, there's no way I could fool with it. But I don't think they've had it. They're supposed to do something tomorrow night with the Chamber of Commerce. Businesses handing out stuff. So I think they're probably going to have it all at the same time. But it's going to be raining.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100% chance of rain pretty much all day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's raining now. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow and into Saturday. So, I don't think that's going to be much fun for the kids. Raincoats on over top of their little outfits and stuff.
I had tentative plans to go to an amusement park because they have an amusement park where they turn off the lights and it's all spooky. But I'm like, I'm not going in the rain.
Yeah.
Here's the leftovers.
Well, you got enough there to break your diet.
Well, this is going to a friend of the family. I'm going to see a friend of the family. They have 2 small kids on Saturday. And I'm just going to be like, I don't want it. Just take it. Mm-hmm. Get it out of my house. Because I'm already breaking out in pimples. Look, I've been eating so much, so many pieces of candy. I'm like, oh boy, I think I'm pushing it.
Well, I'm broke out in psoriasis, but that comes from the nerves. Yeah. And so, you just deal with it as it comes and go on. But here's another one y'all don't know. I did get the roof fixed on the house. But I still need fascia boards, soffits, gutters, downspouts, the power washing, the painting, and the fence. And the way the weather's going, it looks like it'll probably be spring before I even see the contractors again.
Wow.
And I had to fight like a mashed cat to get the roof put on. So there you go.
Well, a roof is important, and you have one. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that taken care of. Here's something else that's going on. Look at this. This is
something about bowling.
Bowling Hall of Fame. Bowling Hall of Fame. My brother is being inducted into the Bowling Hall of Fame. And I have a handful of these tickets. And we're going to cheer him on at the ceremony where he will be inducted into the Bowling Hall of. Isn't that cool? He's a professional bowler.
Well, everybody's got to do something.
I tell people, oh, my brother's a professional athlete. Oh, what does he do? Bowl. That's not a real sport. I'm like, well, apparently it is.
Apparently it is. He makes money at it.
Oh yeah.
If you make money at it, then it is what it is.
There was one tournament he went to because he goes all over these junkets. And one was like a worldwide tour. It was like the top of the top of the top of the top of the top, and he came in, I think, 43rd in the world, which is amazing. So I mean, there's only 43 people that are better than him. And then at the one tournament, just a different tournament, it was a really hard oil pattern where all the balls were falling into the gutter because no one could figure it out. He figured it out right away, and he cleaned up. He moved tax brackets. That's how much money he wanted. It's crazy.
Wow. We had a couple more come into the chat there. Kobe Hit'em channel is in the house. Say hey to you. And we had When a Girl Has No Name came in the room. Good to have you with us. And Muttnut says that she doesn't get trick-or-treaters where she's at, except for her sister's kids who's 19, 17, and 16. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving them a candy bar or something, to celebrate the holiday with.
I encourage it. If there's an older child, even a teenager that comes, no complaints. I'd rather have them do that than like throwing eggs or,
toilet paper in your trees or
yeah, forget that. So I'm like, and the 1 year someone dressed up as Beavis and Butthead, which is like the easy. It's just a t-shirt with a band name on it that's a specific color, and boom. I was like, you're getting extra. I was like, that's a simple yet creative. And they even had the mannerisms of those.
I've got a question for you.
Okay, bring it on.
Out of all the memes and stuff in the stories that's been told about Halloween on Facebook, what is your favorite? Because I have a favorite. I didn't until yesterday, but I have a favorite now.
Well, let's start with you.
Well, my favorite is, I was reading this story yesterday about this lady that was passing out candy for trick-or-treat night. Kids coming up to the door, ringing the bell, they open the door, trick-or-treat, give them some candy, and they'd say thank you, and off they go. And well, this went until it was, just about time for it to be over, and the kids had kind of stopped coming, and so she thought, well, okay, the influx must be over, and so she set down the bowl and was going across the room, and the doorbell rings again. So, oh, well, here's one coming in a little late. So she goes over to the door and opens it up, and there's a kid standing there all dressed in red. And she says, well, hello. And he doesn't say trick or treat or anything. And he says, hi, I'm your period. Sorry, I'm late. She gave him the rest of the candy.
Yes.
That is beautiful. Now that kid had put some thought into that, or somebody had.
That's what I should have done. I should have just dumped the bag, to the last person. Only problem was it was more than one, so I couldn't just empty it. But okay, my favorite Halloween meme, it's the one where one witch is talking to another witch, and there was a collision. but it wasn't with cars, it was with brooms.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I got rear-ended. And the broom was
yeah, they've had some good ones on there. There's been a whole lot of them, but that story about the kid dressed in red, that that did it for me. I don't know. Maybe my sense of humor is just, too warped or whatever, but
I did see my favorite trick-or-treater was this little 3-year-old came up and he was dressed as Mario. Full get up, full Mario, got the little mustache, the little Mario hat with the M on it. And the dad was dressed as Luigi and the mom was dressed as Bowser. I was like, this is the best costume I've seen in a decade. I like, you win Halloween.
Yeah. Get the whole family involved.
I love it. You know what I love about Halloween? Fishnets. The girls wear the fishnets.
You would love it over in Dayton, Ohio. I guess they still do it. I don't know. Back in my younger days, there's a section of Dayton that they call the Oregon District. And it's a lot of historical houses and buildings and a lot of restaurants there in that area. And they have bands and local talent and stuff in a lot of these restaurants on the weekends and everything. Well, when it gets to be Halloween, everybody comes out. And the weirdest outfits you have ever seen in your life. I mean, you'll see pool toys. You will see the corsets and the fishnets. You will see the entire, yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. I love it.
Yep.
It's a great, lot of good memories with Halloween. We were at this one party. We threw this massive party because my friend has this big, it's a structure, but it's for farm equipment. And we big rager party in there. So many, it was so big that the local bar owner at around 1:30 came to the party. He wanted to see where all his customers were. Like, we packed the place. And we made this contraption in a 5-gallon bucket, or this concoction. And it was mostly vodka and cranberry juice, but it was cran strawberry juice and a couple other things. And we said, this girl was starting to drink it. She was dressed as a playing card. She had a whole playing card suit. Like, be careful. This doesn't seem like it's getting you drunk, but it's really powerful. But we've mastered the proportions. Like, we've perfected this over the years. We called it a Stranberry Fizzle. F-U-C-K. That was what we called it. Anyway, she's like, no, I'm fine. I was like, no, when you get up, like, hold on to something. She goes, no, I'm fine. She kept drinking. She stood up and took one step forward and fell flat on her face. Like, it didn't even like put her hands out or anything. I was just like, we told her. We told her.
Yep.
True story. Poor girl. Oh, that was but yeah, fun times.
What's the wildest or maybe most memorable Halloween costume you've ever worn?
Oh, I was Trayvon Martin. He was he was on Auto Tune the News, which was a famous YouTube channel that would take local news coverage of tragic events where the person was telling the camera the tragedy that unfolded, and they would make it into a pop song. So he was he was at his sister's house, and someone broke into his sister's house on the second floor and went into her bedroom and tried to do horrible things. And he busted in and kicked the guy out. And he was like, he's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up. He goes, you better hide your wife, hide your kids, and hide your husbands. And then they turned it into a musical. It was just so meme worthy. I was like, I got to dress up as Trayvon. No, I forget what his name was. No, it wasn't Trayvon Martin. I don't know who it was, but he was the climbing in your windows guy. So I went I went as that. I could pull up a picture of it. It was That was my most memorable. What was your most memorable Halloween costume?
Well, I've got two.
Okay.
One year I went as Scarlett O'Hara
Oh, okay.
with the hoop skirt and all the accessories. Now I had the parasol, I had the hat, the entire ensemble, and the hoop skirt was a pain in the rear end to get around in all night, and trying to keep the guys out from under it was another
Anton
deal.
Dodson. That's his name. Anton Dodson. That's who I went as.
But yeah, the guys kept trying to climb underneath that skirt like it was a camp tent. So that was one outfit, and then another year I got a pink leotard bodysuit, and I went as Pink Panther.
Oh, nice.
Now those were back in my much thinner years,
Okay, yeah.
when I was a model and a stick figure. But yeah, those were the two best outfits.
I did a full Darth Maul get up with the black and red paint over the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a skeleton with the white paint and then the skeleton teeth and the black eyes and things like that. But Darth Maul was pretty good. And my son was Darth Vader. He had this mask. This looks like an adult mask, but it's actually a child's mask. I am Darth Vader. I wear sunglasses underneath this, and it looks really good. But
well,
yeah.
Speaking of Evan, have you announced to him that he's got to buy them tires for you and your wife's cars for Christmas? Because you better give him time to get the money saved up. I mean, he's not got quite 2 months.
Yeah, we sort of gave him the what for with my wife's car needing 4 tires. My car thankfully didn't need tires, but it did need $1,000 of other work. It needed brakes and rotors. I hate when they replace the brake pads, but they got to replace the rotors too. They're supposed to grind them down, but they said it can't grind down anymore. So I had to do that for the rear tires and blah, blah, blah. So I said, look, that plus the car insurance is due at the top of December, at the end of December. So I said, look, this is not going to be a Christmas like most Christmases because we really go hard on, and we spend all our efforts on the boy. Like I'm with my wife and I, we try not to go crazy for each other, if at all. Sometimes not even. All the money goes to the boy. We're like, look, I think what we're going to do is they're going to move into a new apartment in 7 months. We'll probably get them a nice piece of furniture, like maybe a couch, maybe a couch with a pull-out bed. It's like like a one piece of high, and that might be the majority of it, and then stocking stuffers. So I was like, because he just got an iPad, he just got a $2,000 M1 iPad Pro, which is essentially a computer, even though it was my hand-me-down still, but not that counts. And he just got a brand new phone. He got a $1,400 phone with $1,000 a year in fees to get it working every month with the cell. So I'm just like, you're stacked already.
Yeah.
We're going to do our best, but we're hurting. So, yeah, he's a good kid. And, he's at the point now where he doesn't need very much. Anyway, so we're bracing for that.
Yeah, I know when my stepson come to live with us, he come right at the beginning of December. And winter had just set in. We had like a foot of snow on the ground, and I'm trying to take care of my animals out at the barn, keep things from freezing to death, keep pipes from freezing, and working my tail off at the farm. My husband was working in town, but he had to battle the snow, and it was like an hour's drive for him one way to get to work. And so, we had our hands full with everything that was going on. So the kid moves in, and he comes here from California with no winter clothes.
Oh boy.
And he's like 6'4" at that point in time, not done growing, and needs clothes so he can go to school. And that ain't cheap. because you're having to go to Big and Tall Man's to get his stuff for him to wear to school and get him the winter wardrobe. Because you can't wear surfer shirts and shorts in December in the middle of a foot of snow to go to school. So that was expensive. So we bought his clothes. But of course, the way he acted, well, we owed him that anyway. And I got a great big Christmas stocking, but the stuff that I put in it was stuff that he could use. And it was like sample sizes of stuff because that wasn't expensive, for $1 you could get 3 or 4 bottles of whatever, So shampoos and deodorants and mouthwash and toothpaste, toothbrush, all that kind of stuff. And there was some candy thrown in there and some fruit and stuff like that. You would have thought that I had just slapped him with a bag of hot nickels is to give him that. And it was like $600-700 worth of just clothes, and it wasn't much in the way of clothes, because that stuff's expensive.
Exactly.
And and then the stocking stuff, and I thought, well, how ungrateful can you be? Now, a few months later, he began to appreciate those things in that stocking. And I think he began to appreciate the clothes because he didn't have to go out and freeze himself to death.
That's true.
But he wasn't going to admit it. The world could have come to an end and he would not acknowledged it. But a few months later, I noticed that some of them things that I'd put in his Christmas stocking was beginning to disappear. So I thought, well, he's figuring out that it isn't really a good thing to go to school stinking and nasty breath and
yeah, exactly.
So he's beginning to use some of this stuff up and appreciate it a little bit more. But Lord, I thought, it wasn't like we was made of money. We was struggling as it was. And here he came. It was out of the blue. His mother couldn't control him anymore. This wasn't something that we'd all just decided to do for just something to do. It was, she could not control him. He's putting his fists through walls and he took a butcher knife and stabbed it into the door, and he ripped the phone out of the wall at one point, and she just couldn't control him anymore. He'd missed, this is what a sweet child he was. He'd missed 96 days of school halfway through the school year.
There's only 181 days.
And the school,
that's more than half the days.
Yeah. So the school finally caught up to his mother. And what was happening was she would get up in the morning to go to work and tell him, get yourself ready and go to school. Then after work, she would go to happy hour. And then she'd go shopping with her friends and go out to dinner and come strolling in about 10 o'clock at night and ask him, how was school today? And he'd say, it was just fine. And she'd go to bed. So the school was not catching up to her. It's, out in California, they got these huge school systems. So it takes them a little while to catch up to parents. They finally caught up to her. And they told her, look, your custodial parent, he's going to go to school or you're going to go to jail. So
it's true. Pick
which one you want.
People don't realize that it is mandatory to be educated in America.
So she starts calling us on the phone and having herself a holy fit that, she can't control him anymore. He's going wild and he's done this and he's done that and he's got to go. And so we took him in. And for 3 years, he's the biggest pain in the ass I've ever had in my life up until this tree fell on my house. But hey, the kid would lie to you when, there was no need for him to say anything. He could just stay quiet and not said nothing, but oh no, he'd go out of his way to tell you lies. Steal. I cannot tell you how much stuff he stole. That's what finally I drew the line. I kicked him out because he's stealing from me, he's stealing from the employer. Yeah, enough.
No,
but
can't tolerate that.
That's what I had to deal with. And I'm like, look, I've got to draw the line somewhere. I've done everything I can do. I mean, he was stealing guns, not just money or candy or, CDs or something. No, kid was stealing guns.
See, that crosses the federal line.
Yeah.
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 I read all these Reddit posts, and the one girlfriend wanted to get back the jaded, she was bad breakup, so she stole a couple things from the boyfriend, but one of the things was his registered pistol, and the guy tried to prosecute, and they're like, no, you can't do it. The police have to bring the action. So he supplied all of the evidence and stuff like that. And eventually it did. And she's now a felon because of it. Not just, some little tiny theft charge. Like, she's a felon. Yeah. That's
Yeah, Jim says, what bundle of joy was this? I got here late. It was my stepson. Yeah. He was a real winner.
Oh man.
Pace of work that one was.
Yeah, he's thankfully very appreciative of everything he has, and he's been that way his whole life. Whether it's a little iPod music player or whatever he had, he was always very. And his grandpa, when he was alive, always spoiled that boy. The grandpa would go to the bank and get quarters and just give him a bucket of quarters every time he saw him. And then, like, sometimes it was $2 bills or something. It's just oh, Grampy, gotta go easy on that boy. Because, yeah, it would spoil him. He had so much change. I put all the change in a briefcase, and I walked it into the bank because I got one of those big machines. And I said to the teller, I was like, I've got a briefcase full of coins. It's really heavy. So let's see it. Somehow he got it all over to the machine and threw it all in.
I've seen them do that up at my bank, only it's buckets. They'll have big old metal pails, it's from the car wash. And they empty out all their car wash money, and they go in there with their buckets full of change. And then gals trying to lug that back to their machine and get it poured in.
They have those machines in Vegas, because when you hit it big on the slot, you bring your bucket of quarters over, and they always take 3 quarters and they put it on the desk and they dump it all in. And then depending on how many quarters were in there, they'll throw 2 of them in to make it an even dollar amount. And then they'll give you $300 and then slide that quarter back to you. There's a whole protocol.
Yeah, Donald said he needed to be with Brenda when he was younger. Too late after he was 6 foot tall, wasn't he? See, here's the thing. I'd married his daddy years and years before that, and I told his dad then, if you would like for me to raise him, let's get him now so that I can raise him before she puts a bunch of bad habits in him. Because I could see that, she had no idea what she was doing. And the kid was raising himself. My husband's sister went to visit out in California, and she come back with stories about how there was no food in the house. And she had to go out and get cereal and milk so the kid had something to eat for breakfast. And she'd go out, the mother would go out for dinner of an evening, bring back a doggy bag. And that's whatever she brought home was what his meal was supposed to be the next day. And we're talking a little kid. He was like 5, 6 years old. Didn't even know how to heat anything up.
That's not right.
And that
people go through hardships. It's sad.
Yeah. That's why I told his dad, I'll take him now while, he's impressionable and I can teach him something. But after he has turned into juvenile delinquent, do not look at me and expect me to raise him. Well, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and you knew it. See, the thing is, you had the foresight. We got Mel here, and same with Shalalala Productions. Hi, Robert Lee.
Hey, good to see both of you. Yeah, I begged, I pleaded, I did everything I knew to do to keep this from happening. But he's like, I don't have any choice. This is my son.
Did we miss anyone? If we missed anyone, hello. Sorry.
AJ's out there. I'll say hey to AJ.
Okay, hi, AJ.
But yeah, I don't see anybody else that we missed. But I did everything I knew to do to keep this from happening. But no, it happened anyway. And then, of course, every time he got in trouble, I'm the one that was taking the brunt of it because my husband was off, doing his work and all that. I'm the one that's supposed to be raising this kid. And I could not keep a good enough eye on this kid staring at him to keep him from stealing. I swear to God, he would steal stuff right in front of me and I wouldn't see it.
Man, that sucks.
I mean, it was just unreal. And, well, the gun thing, he'd fallen in with this kid. Now, my stepson was 17, and this kid that he worked with was 19. And the kid he worked with lived with his grandparents, and his dad was a veteran, and he was a gun collector. Well, he wanted to hang out with this kid, and I didn't really see a whole lot wrong with him hanging out with this kid. And I'd warned him, about you better behave yourself. Don't you get into no trouble. Well, he was getting into trouble left, right, and sideways. I mean, there wasn't nothing that he could touch without getting into trouble with. And so one day I sat him down. I said, well, look, here's the deal, Slick. You're not going to get into any more trouble. You've just got a few more months until you graduate. I don't care if you graduate or not. You better decide if it's important to you. Because if you get in any trouble, if you think about getting in any trouble, if I get an inkling that you are getting or thinking about getting into any trouble, I will bounce you out of here so fast that you won't know what happened. And I said, but I'm a fair person. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you one opportunity right now to tell me if there's anything else that you're involved in, any other trouble that you're involved in, it's get out of jail free card. You tell me right now so that we can fix it. Because if you don't tell me and I find out about it later, that bouncing is going to happen.
Laying down the law.
I said, so you
spill the beans?
You just come clean right now. So he sits there for a minute and he says, well, there is this one thing. And I said, what? And he says, well, I got this gun. And I said, you got what? He says, I got this gun and it came from so-and-so's grandpa. I said, he gave you the gun? No. He said his buddy had gotten it from his grandpa. Basically what he meant was he stole it out of grandpa's gun closet. And he said, so I've got it. And I said, where is it? And he says, well, it's all over the farm. Huh? He said, well, I took it apart. I said, why'd you do that? And he said, well, if you found any of it, you wouldn't know what it was. And I said, well, what was you planning to do with it? And he says, well, we was planning to take it. Now, I lived in Ohio. He says, we was planning to take it over to Indiana and sell it. Firearm across state lines. Now, he's 17, but his buddy is 19. So his buddy had given him the gun, knowing that he is a minor. And if he got caught with it, he'd be tried as a minor and it'd all be expunged. See? So I said, can you get this gun and put it back together? He said, yeah. And so he gets it, he puts it back together, gives it to me. And I said, you got anything else that belongs to this kid? And he says, well, I've got some of his games and I've got some magazines. And I said, go get a box it all up. So he did. The magazines, now I am no prude by any stretch of the imagination. I've seen most everything, that there is to see. I'm no kid. But these were the most vulgar, the most raunchous, the nastiest things you ever seen in your life. I don't know where anybody would even acquire this stuff. So I took the box with the games and the magazines, and I went through the magazines enough to find the one I thought was about the filthiest, and I put it right on the top. And I put the games down in the side of the box, and I put the gun on top of the magazine. And then I told the kid, get in the truck. And I put the box in the back of the vehicle, and off we go. I said, tell me where they live. So he told me, and I drive over there. Now he's sitting up in the front of the truck, and I said, "You stay there, you stay quiet, don't you say a word." And I go to the door, and the other kid comes to the door all bug-eyed because he's surprised to see me. And I said, "Well, hi, how you doing?"
This is the 19-year-old.
Yeah. And he says, "Well, I'm okay." And I said, "Is your grandma and grandpa at home?" And he says, "Well, yeah, they are." And I said, "I want to thank them for how nice they've been to my stepson and all the times that he's been coming over here." I said, "So if you don't mind, I'd like an introduction." So he takes me around the corner of the kitchen where they're fixing dinner, and he says, "This is so-and-so's stepmom." And I said, "Hi, how you doing? I want to thank you for how nice you've been to him all the times he's been coming over here." And now the kid disappears.
Smart.
And so I said to the grandpa, I said, "Hey, listen, have you got just a minute? Because I got something out here in the truck that I want to show you. I think you'd be interested in." And he says, "Okay." And he doesn't know what's up. And so he steps outside with me, and I open the tailgate up, and there it all is. And he's shocked to see his gun. He says, "I wondered where that had got to." And I said, "Well, here it is. And let's just say that my stepson is not going to be coming over here anymore. And all the rest of this stuff in here belongs to somebody in your house. I'm not quite sure who, but I think you can figure it out. You look like a smart man to me. And I'm sorry that your space has been invaded. But it ain't happening again." And he picks up, he's just in shock. You can see the blood is just drained out of this man's face.
Wow.
And he picks this box up and heads to the house with it. And I get in the vehicle and head back home. When I get back home, the answering machine's doing this. And so I flip it on, and it's that kid. And he said, "Matt, you better be careful. You better be careful. She knows what's going on. She knows. She knows." And I thought, and that's how smart he is. He didn't realize that you sitting in the front of the truck. But
crazy story. That's insane. Thanks for sharing that. Holy cow.
it didn't last but like 2 months before he got caught in some more trouble. And that's when I shipped him out. His mother at that point in time was living with her parents down in Florida. And so I just called up and said, "Hey, somebody needs to go to the airport at such and such time because his flight's coming in, one-way ticket."
Well, Jim Bashir's had a question. He said, "Where's he now, your stepson?"
He's still in Florida.
Florida. Okay. Gotcha.
Because, I do keep an eye out to see where he is.
Okay.
We do not correspond with each other, but I do keep an eye out to know where he is at all times. I don't want him anywhere near me.
Brenda, if we're ready to move on to another subject, I'd like to put something on the floor. So it's a medical question.
Okay.
Because I figure you deal with a lot of medical issues, and you said you had the carousel of balms and stuff before by your bed. You slap different lotions on you to try.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make one up.
Here's my question.
All right.
I have a spot on my arm.
Yeah.
And it has been itching.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Okay.
And sometimes I scratch it and it breaks open and it scabs and it heals and it's fine for a while. And then it gets ripped open again and scabs. So it's not just a normal scab. It's always itching. What the heck could that be?
It's either eczema or psoriasis.
See, I was thinking eczema.
And
no, it's not that, Jim.
And they're a booger to get to heal. I got them, because I've got psoriasis all over me, and it'll clear up, and you'll think, okay, finally got that sucker cleared up, and then a couple months later, here it is right back again. So I think if you go to a doctor, they have some medication and stuff that they can give you for that. I use Aveeno on them, and I'll soak them with a mixture of baking soda and Epsom salts. You know, if you take you like a
AVINO?
ALEE. What? How? Oh, geez. I look at it 15 times a day. You'd think I know. Aveeno, AVEENO, I think it is. You can get it at Walmart.
Okay.
It's a lotion.
Oh, it's a lotion. Skincare. Yeah, okay.
I get the medicated one.
Moisturizing.
Yeah.
Well, I have been putting moisturizing lotion on because I work in the wood shop. My hands get beat up, so sometimes I'll put moisturizer on the hands before I go to bed, and it does help. And then I'll slap it on the elbow, but it's just so I figure like, can't they just cut it out? Because I think if they were to cut it like in like an eyeball shape, like
they probably can, but that doesn't mean it's not going to come out someplace else. See, I've got it all up both arms and across my shoulders in the back, and then I get patches of it on my face, and sometimes I'll get patches on my legs of it. So, and this has been going on for years. I think it started in about 2008. So, I'm about 13 years in on this. So it just kind of keeps getting worse.
Contact dermatitis says when a girl has no name. Shingles says Donald.
No, it's not shingles.
No. Herpes says Jim Bashir. AVENO. Thank you, Y. Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah, but doctors have medication and stuff that you can take, but then you know me, I don't go to doctors because they want money, and so that's something I ain't got. Even though, I'm on Medicare now, but Medicare just pays so much. So you got to have money to pay that copay, and I ain't got it. So
I'm going to see my family doctor, and I'm going to ask him to cut it out. I'm going to say, it's probably cancer. Cut it off of me and have it tested. Just so I don't care what the test comes back. I just want it off of me because it never stops itching. I'm like, I can't stop it from itching. I used to think there was an ingrown hair. I was like, I don't know why there would be an ingrown hair on my freaking arm. Not that I shave my arms ever, but I'm just like, I'm trying to think of what could this be. And at first I was like, oh, it's just a scab. Scabs itch. That's how they work. Yeah. That's what they do. But even healed over, I don't know.
Well, I'd ask him what he thinks about it, and he could probably put you on some sort of a medication, anti-itch, anti-inflammatory, something that would give it some relief. You might be able to use cortisone on it, see if that helps, because cortisone generally has an anti-inflammatory to it. But yeah, I itch all the time. It's and stress sets mine off. I guess everybody's a little bit different, but stress will set mine off. And Lord have mercy, have I been through stress for the last 2.5 months. And I've itched. You'd think that I was a dog with fleas, the way that I've been scratching and carrying on because of all the stress that's been going on in my life. It's been horrible.
I've been to the dermatologist a few times in my life. And one thing I have learned in this life is if you're going into a medical practice, dermatology is what you want because they bring in the bucks. At marble everywhere. They had lilies in the waiting room. You know how expensive lilies, real ones, not fake ones. Water features, fine art. Immaculate. The place was just immaculate. You could tell the money's just rolling in. And what type of emergency does a dermatologist ever have to have? It must be the cushiest job in the world because no one's like, meet me in the emergency room quick. I need my dermatologist. I'm sure I'm downplaying it. I don't mean to disrespect anyone who worked hard and does that job, but just as the medical profession goes, that's got to be the cream of the crop as far as what you want to specialize in, because holy cow, lots of money in that for sure.
Of course, I guess if you want to torture people all day, you could be a proctologist.
Well, yeah, but that that requires skill and hard work and labor. I mean, what does it turn here? Rub it on, maybe
Can you
slice something off of you.
can you imagine going to work angry as a proctologist? And then try to imagine yourself being the first patient that day.
There was a Seinfeld episode where someone found a license plate and it was ASSMAN. And they couldn't figure out all the theories about who, and it turned out it was a proctologist that it was his license plate.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Put dry ice on it, show it who's boss. Yeah, that's what they did for wart removal. They put some sort of super freeze stuff on you for wart removal, and then it scabs all over and falls off, and then your wart's gone. That's probably not a bad idea.
Well, I got some interesting facts about Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So we'll throw a couple of these out there, and then maybe we'll give something away.
Okay.
Let's see. The first one says Jack-o'-lantern comes from the Irish legend of Stingy Jack. Legend has it that Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. But Jack didn't want to pay for the drink. So he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin. Instead of buying the drink, he pocketed the coin and kept it close to a silver cross in his house, preventing the devil from taking the shape again. He promised to let the devil go as long as he would leave Jack alone for a year, and that if Jack died, the devil wouldn't claim his soul. After the year, Jack tricked the devil again to leave him alone and not claim his soul. So when Jack died, God didn't want such a convincing person in heaven, and the devil, true to his word, would not allow him into hell. Jack was sent off into the night with only a burning coal to light his path. He placed the coal inside the carved out pumpkin, or turnip, it was a turnip, and has been roaming the earth ever since. People in Ireland and Scotland began creating their own creations of Jack's lanterns out of turnips, beets, and taters. The tradition traveled to the United States along with immigrants, and the people began to use pumpkins native to North America for the lanterns instead.
Oh, that's crazy.
So now you know the story of the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, I knew pumpkins weren't the primary thing. It was squash or something else.
Yeah, turnips.
Turnips. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy talk.
Well, how about if we do a giveaway?
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe we can end on the hour since we started late. I'm exhausted. All right. Well, you know what to do, folks. Brenda is going to give away a free item. She will mail you an item if you are the winner. Someone who's watching the live show will win. She wrote a number down on a piece of paper. When she says go, only after she says go, you put the number that you think it is in the chat. If you guess exactly right, you win. She will ship the item anywhere in the United States, the lower 48 states of the United States, for free. This is a free gift to you. Now, if you're outside the United States, you can pay the shipping because Brenda's on a fixed income. Super chats go to fund this effort. So if you want to super chat, that would be great. Also, if you're outside the lower 48 states, you can still play and re-gift it to someone. So everyone gets a chance to play. She wrote the number down in words. Hey, we have a $20 super chat from Jim Bashirs. Thank you, sir.
Woohoo!
That helps the channel out a lot. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Jim.
She wrote the number down, not as digits, but as words, and she uses too many capital letters. She does this because I'm a publishing professional, and she knows it drives me crazy. And if you haven't figured it out, Brenda loves to drive me crazy. So as a bonus gift, as a bonus prize, you could guess the number of capital letters she's written down. So an example would be you would put the digits down, put a slash, and then you put a digit for the number of capital letters that she wrote down. Brenda, what is the number range of numbers people can pick from?
Between 90 and 99.
Okay, when you're ready.
Go.
All right, folks, pick a number between 90 and 99. It could be 90, it could be 99, or it could be anything in between. Guess once and put the slash and do your bonus guess along with your guess. Numbers are coming in. And Brenda, we thank you for doing this for the community. This is a very nice thing you do week in and week out. We appreciate it.
We got a winner.
A winner already?
Yep.
Let's see the entry. We have 95 with 4 capital letters. First 95 I see is Mutt Nuts. Is that right?
Yep, that's what I see.
And 5 is her guess for the capital letters. How many capital letters were there? Were there 5?
4.
4. You missed the bonus by 1, Mutt Nuts. But congratulations on winning. All right, Brenda, show us 4 possible prizes that Mutt Nuts can pick one.
The first one is your pick on the single Cobra paracord bracelets. One is a large and one is a small. Okay. So there's a little bit of difference in the size. So you tell me whether you want the large or the small. Or there is the wooden pendant that is the acrylic pour.
Nice.
You can use that as a necklace or put it on a keychain or, purse fob, whatever you want to use that for. Then there is the picture that I made out of the acrylic pour that I call lavender. It's green and lavender.
That's the one I like right there.
And there is a set of 4 of the leaf coasters that I made. These are made of stone. They are felted on the back, and there's 4 of them all together, and that's what they look like. They're painted and baked so that they're the paint will stay on. So those are your 4 choices. We got the picture, the tiles, the pendant, or choice out on the bracelets.
Bracelet, pictures, tile.
The coasters. She wants the coasters.
Coasters it is.
Okay.
Congratulations. Mutt Nuts Crazy World.
All right, Michelle, if you'd like to send me your mailing address again over there on Facebook, that'd be marvelous. Keep me from having to chase around trying to find it again. And I will get those out. It might not be tomorrow. It might be Saturday before I can get them up at the post office. Because tomorrow I may have to take a road trip with Dennis. His car's in the shop, and he's got a doctor's appointment. And it is like 2 hours away. So
she says, Mom will love them. Isn't that nice?
That's nice. Very nice.
We had a comment from someone who said they haven't got the item from you yet. Who said that? That was Jimbo. I still have not got the piece I won from you, says Jimbo.
You should have got it by now. It hasn't come back here. Huh.
Brenda will check with the shipping department and get back to you.
I will need to be reminded on what it was that you won, and see what we can do about that, because I can always mail you another one probably, or give you choice out on something else or whatever. I'll make it right with you. Normally on these giveaways, I don't go for tracking numbers because it costs more to mail them if I go that route. Right. Yeah, you got to go priority and all that. So I normally don't put tracking numbers on them. So let me know if you can remember what it was, and I'll send you something. We'll figure something out, because I don't. He says some kind of a stone.
The dragon's eye. Was it a dragon's eye pendant?
I don't know. I think I've got one dragon's eye left, and it's a green one. I don't know if I could find it quick or not in here. I've got a whole bucket of different kinds of pendants and stuff in here.
Yeah, he says with an eye on it. He thinks.
Okay. So,
kidney stone. Jim Dockrell's here. Did we say hi to Jim Dockrell? Hi, Jim Dockrell.
Hey, Jim Dockrell. Good to see you. I noticed Al was in there too, and I'd missed him.
He said Al was here, but he was in class, so he couldn't play with audio, so he had to jump off.
Okay, well,
he was talking about my hand gestures. He thought that was fun, just watching me without any sound.
I'll have to dump these out and go through them one at a time because I am not seeing that dragon's eye here, but I know I had one left. If not, I'll send you one of the others. I'll show you what they look like, give you an idea. I've got these kind.
Okay.
There's that color, and I have this color. These are all acrylic pours. And let's see if I got any other colors in there. Oh, here's the dragon's eye. Here's the green dragon's eye.
All right, there it is.
So if it's all the same to you, I'll probably just send you the green dragon's eye. Drop me a message over on Facebook. Let me know what you prefer, and we'll get it straightened up for you. Yeah, I have never had the post office lose any of the giveaways yet, but there's always a first time.
Well, the post office has been really going through the ringer lately. It's very unpredictable.
Well, it's going to get worse with Christmas and stuff coming up.
Yeah.
See,
FedEx is messed up too, because I got this bad boy in the mail yesterday. This is a iPad mini, and it got to now the way to order Apple products is always air freight it in, because then it lands in the middle of the country. It doesn't have to go through the ports. So you always pick the fastest shipping, but it got to the central FedEx hub in Tennessee, and it stayed there for a week and a half, going in and out of clearing customs. I must have had 5 entries on the tracking log. I'm just like, what the hell? Put it on a truck and ship it to Pennsylvania. Then it didn't even say out for delivery. It was just clearing customs, delivered. I got an alert saying it's been delivered. I didn't even hear the doorbell ring. And I came out. It was sitting in a box in front of my door. Like, oh, there's a heck of an expensive piece of equipment just sitting right on there. But anyway, finally got it. So.
Yeah, I love it when they tell me that it's going to be on a specific day, and it's going to be between the hours, say 11 and 3. And so I'm watching. It doesn't show up. And about 7, 8 o'clock that night, they send me a notice saying your package will be late. Now, they don't say what late means. Does late mean that I'm going to get it sometime in the middle of the night? Or does late mean that it's going to come tomorrow? Or does late mean it'll be there next week? And they don't tell you until the day of the delivery that your package is on the way.
They try and be ambiguous on purpose.
I'm like, man, this would be a great place to open a delivery center, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a funny story for you.
Okay. Oh, we got a $4.99 super chat from Chris Nealon. Thank
you.
Niantic.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Every little bit helps.
Try and say his complete YouTube name. Niantic River Woodcrafting with Chris Nealon. It's a handful. Thank you, Chris. This helps the channel.
I appreciate every little bit. It all helps with these giveaways. Yep. But here's my funny story. Okay. They come, they put the roof on. All right. After I had a fit, I had to throw a temper tantrum to get him here to put the roof on. So, I mean, he acts like the guy that's in, the supervisor fella acts like, I'm just off my rocker. And they're going to make it up to me. It's going to be the most marvelous job I've ever had in my life. And there's nothing to worry about. Well, they was 2 days late getting here. When they got here, they didn't show up till 10:30 because apparently they had to go get the materials from the material place. Now, they'd had all weekend to do that, but they chose to do it on Monday when they could have been here working on the job. But they, takes them like 2.5 hours to get here with the materials. So I'm just sitting back, saying, okay, when am I going to start being impressed? So they get up on the roof and they start ripping the old roof off. And I expected that there would be some noise, but I'm amazed that I still have windows in the house.
Oh, jeez.
Because they was slamming them old shingles down off of that roof, beating the hell out of my windows. And I'm like, man, whatever they break, they got to fix. But good Lord, I mean, they're going to turn this house into a shell before it's over with. There ain't going to be nothing here to live in. I didn't say nothing. I stayed quiet. At noon, they break for lunch. Now, I don't oppose anybody that's working, having their lunch hour. I do, however, have a problem when they're gone for 2.5 hours. But since they had not brought the dumpster, I'm figuring that, well, maybe they had to go back to Timbuktu to get the dumpster. Why they didn't bring that with them, I don't know. But there was no dumpster. But I stayed quiet. I still did not say a word because I'm waiting to be impressed, Well, they carried the materials from the trailer that they had parked back on my driveway. I had to park my car out on the street for the 2 days while they was doing all this so they could have my driveway because I can't get out of my garage if they're in my driveway. See? So they parked out on the driveway. They have to carry the stuff to the front of the house and they pile it all up beside the house. Now, there's a reason for me saying that and you'll catch on later. But they start carrying the stuff, some of it up on the roof, and they're doing whatever it is that they got to do up on the roof. And about 5 o'clock, they quit. They had pulled the tarps that they had laying around the house that had caught these shingles, and they just kind of doubled them up over each other, and there's no dumpster to put any of the trash or anything in. And so they're leaving this mess overnight out in front of the house. And I thought, well, they're supposed to come back in the morning. As long as they come back in the morning, get with it here, I guess we're all right. They show up the next morning, 8 o'clock. I thought, okay, that's a little more like it. Let's see what you can accomplish today. So they fly in up there on the roof doing their thing. And they pulled up out front with the dumpster hooked to the back of a pickup truck on my side of the street, which there is no parking on my side of the street. Now, you can usually get along with parking there as long as you're only there for a little bit to unload, or whatever, if you're getting an appliance or furniture or whatever, and then you're leaving, right? But no, they parked there until 7:30 that night.
That's gutsy.
Okay, so they're out there beating the hell out of the top of the house, putting these shingles on or whatever they was doing up there. And at 5 o'clock, I'm thinking they were supposed to save all the metal because, we do scrap iron and stuff here. And I save all my scrap iron and anything metal. And I had told the supervisor that he's to tell these folks that's doing the roof, whatever metal you pull off, any soffits or any of the gutters, downspouts, any of that kind of stuff that you pull off, save it out there. Just leave it in a pile and my scrap guy will come and pick it up. And I noticed there was no, I'm looking out windows and I'm not seeing any metal. And I noticed that they had not done anything with the porch yet. The roof on the porch had to be replaced. I mean, it's not very big. It's like 4x4. It's kind of an awning, but it's shingled. And it's 5 o'clock, second day. And I'm like, when are they planning to do this? It's going to be getting dark soon. So I go outside. There's two fellas milling around the front yard like they're lost, don't know where they belong. And so I said to them, I said, where's the metal that you're supposed to save? No habla inglesa. So I had to wait for the head honcho to come down off the roof, and he could barely speak English. And I'm asking him, where's the metal? He says, no metal. I said, there was metal because I heard it plunk in the ground out here. I said, so what happened to that? There was gutter hanging off the house and downspouts hanging off the house, and they're gone now. Where are they? Oh, those trash we throw away. I said, no throw away. Get back out of the trash. Pile it up here in the yard. That's the scrap metal that I'm saving. Guy's going to be here to get it in a little bit. And he's like, oh, okay, we get. And then he says, how do you like roof? Well, I can't see the roof from the ground. You got to be like 2-3 houses down because my house sits on a hill to begin with. So you got to go way down the street to see the top of the roof. And here I am with gout, just barely able to hobble. I hobble about 3 foot from the house, and all I can see is like underneath the underhang, which is, bare. And I said, well, I don't know. I guess it's okay. I don't know nothing about roofing. I said, but when are you going to fix the porch roof? He goes, oh, we know fix. I said, why not? And he says, we just fixed top roof. I said, no, you fixed the porch roof. It's been slapped by that tree too. Look at how the gutter's broken on it. The fascia board's broken on it. It's all scraped up. That's got to be replaced as well. And he says, no, we know fix. I said, then we'll call your supervisor and let him explain it to you. And he says, okay, you call. And so I called the supervisor and I told him what was going on. I says, I'll take care of it. So I get off the phone with him, and this guy goes to beating the hell out of that awning. I mean,
he said he really wailed at it.
Oh my God, I never heard such banging. I thought, you're trying to tear the whole house down. I mean, this was way worse than what he was ever doing up on the roof.
It's obvious he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. He was not happy with that.
And
he didn't want to do more work.
And then I look around and the dumpster's gone. About that time, a metal guy shows up for the metal, and I can hear what's going on out in the yard. He collars this guy working on the awning, and he says, I'm here to pick up the metal. Brenda told me to come and pick it up. And he says, there's no metal. And he says, Brenda told you to save back the metal. And he says, no one tell us. No one tell us. I called the supervisor and went ballistic. And he says, I'm sending you a screenshot of the work order. So I'm looking at the work order, and it tells him that the dumpster is supposed to be parked out back on the driveway. All the soffits were supposed to be taken off the second story, which they weren't. And that awning was supposed to have been replaced, and the metal was supposed to be saved out. And I said, I don't think your guy can read English. Just guessing. Because he can't hardly speak it.
That's a shame.
So we end that conversation, and the next day I go out to get the mail, and I notice that there is a whole lot of shingles, brand new, still in wrappers, and 2 boxes of roof vent set up against the side of the house. So I call the supervisor. I said, do you realize that he left a bunch of materials here? He says, send me a picture.
Now, at this point, you already had shingles on your roof, right?
Supposedly. I mean, I haven't seen them, so I don't know if I have a roof or not. All right. So I'd send him a picture, and we're talking about like half a pickup truck load full of stuff.
That's expensive stuff.
The supervisor about died. And I said, okay, here's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that I can't see the top of that roof. And by the looks of things out here, I don't even know if I have a roof. I said, so somebody needs to get out here and pick up your materials and inspect my roof and make sure that I have a roof. Because I'm really hot right now. I've had enough of this foolishness. So the guy comes the next morning. He's here and he loads up all of his materials. And he was beside himself, exasperated with this mess. And he goes up on the roof and he takes pictures of the roof and comes down and shows me that I actually do have a new roof on those 3 sections up there. So, I'm satisfied with that, but I'm wanting to know, when are you going to come and finish the job? And who are you sending to do it? Because I don't want any more repeats of this foolishness that I just went through. And so he tells me that the guy's name we'll just say John, to leave people's names out of this. But he says the guy's name is John, and he's an American, and he reads, writes, and speaks English. And that when he comes and does it, that there won't be any of this foolishness like what I just went through.
Now you got to get him here. Oh, Frankie's here. Frankie's seeing woodworking.
Hello, Frankie. So now here's the punchline. I sat there a minute and I said, well, I got to ask this. And he says, well, go ahead. And I said, you say that this feller's an American, that he can read, write, and speak English, and I won't have no more foolishness on this job out here getting the rest of this done. But I got to tell you, the last feller that I knew named John, he was a dwarf. Are you sending a dwarf and a crew of dwarfs in here to work on my house?
Did you really ask him that? Jeez.
You should have seen the look on his face. He says, no, ma'am. No. No, he says, not unless he's shrunk about 3 foot since the last time I seen him.
A lot of people are named John,
But I haven't heard from him since, so I don't know. It's getting cold. I know they're not going to get the whole job done this year because you can't paint. It's, it's getting down to freezing here at night. So, there's going to be stuff left over for spring, so they may just put all of it off till spring. I hate to see that happen, but, I'd like to have the fascias and the soffits, gutters, and downspouts at least on, even if they don't do the fence and the painting, but it is what it is. At least I got a roof.
True.
But I knew that you'd appreciate the punchline and all that. That's a long way to go to get there, but
that's funny. Yeah. But it's good you brought some levity into this monstrosity of a situation. So,
well, you know how I am.
Yeah, I do.
He didn't see that coming.
I think that's the assessment most people draw when they're dealing with you. They say that phrase. I didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming.
That sort of wraps up Brenda's existence on this planet. Brenda, I didn't see that coming.
He said, is there any special instructions that you would like for me to give them? And I said, well, I want them to save the metal, when they finish taking off those metal soffits and whatever gutters and downspouts and stuff that's left up there, save them. Let's not have another bunch of this foolishness going on. When I say I want it saved, I want it saved. I don't want people stealing from me. And I said, but the best thing you can do is just put this in the work order. If he can read the work order, then it ought to be completed, right? And he says, yeah. And I said, so here's what you tell him. For God's sakes, whatever you do, don't make her come out of the house.
That's right. There will be hell to pay if she steps foot out of that house.
I said, I will stay away from them and let them do whatever the hell it is that they've got to do, as long as they're doing what they've got to do. I said, but, don't make me come out.
Good deal.
So Frankie says that they painted water towers below freezing with big tarp over them and propane heat. Well, see, that's just the thing. You can't tarp this house and try to run heat out there. It's the very front of the house. And I tell you what, one more aggravating thing happens and I'm going to blow. I swear. They came over from, how this bunch at the church loves to pick on me. It's like I'm their favorite hobby.
Mm-hmm.
A lady from the church came over. It's been a couple weeks ago now. And she said that the state of my property makes the church look bad. Like I chose for it to look this way. Or I did something to cause this.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do. I welcome your input and participation. Put it back on them. So
I told her,
I'm glad you said something. I have been trying to make this state look better. There's a list of things you can do. You can do this, this, this. When can I expect that from you? Boom, put it right back on them.
I told her what she could do. I told her, first you can start calling the city and tell them to pay me the money they owe me for their tree falling on my house and causing all this damage. That's the first thing you can do. Second thing you can do is if you want it, I'll give you the number for the contractor and you can call them and voice your concerns because I'm having trouble getting them out here. Maybe if you call them, you can do better than me.
I love it. I love it. Perfect response, Brenda.
And that kind of ended her and she turned around and walked away. But I don't know what in the hell people expect me to do. I mean, I don't want it looking this way any more than anybody else does. Well, state of my property. Yeah.
You think we should wrap it up? We've been going a while and I'm about ready to drop over.
Yep. And there's a Heifer Haven coming out tonight. Probably just came out, as a matter of fact.
Ooh, and you got it pre-scheduled. Nice.
Yep. So it'll be there for y'all to enjoy. I think you will enjoy this one. You probably have some input to put in the comments on this one. It's all appreciated. Pass it around, share it, let everybody have a chuckle. And
looking forward to it.
What are you up to?
Well, I've been streaming on Awesome Fun Things in the morning, Monday through Fridays. I never do a pre-scheduled show. It just poofs. It just shows up. So get subscribed over there if you want to hear me talk in the morning about what I've been dealing with, mostly content creation stuff. And Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, I still do my All Things YouTube show. So got that going on.
Well, we have a show on Saturday night on Russell's Simply Wooden Creations channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And a friend of mine is going to be the guest this week, Amanda Jane Hogan of Chromostorm Arts. And she does the acrylic pours. And she has a studio down in Atlanta. So if you're interested in acrylic pouring and want to see what it's all about and listen to us talk to her and have a good time over there on Russell's channel, 8 p.m. Simply Wooden Creations, Saturday night, Eastern time. So with all that being said, I'm going to hit the button and say goodnight to everybody. Bye, y'all.
Don't eat too much candy.